Coming up on today's show, the global passenger plug-in market reaches 8.8% as sales soar more than 70% year-on-year. Nissan and Honda announce new plans for electric vehicles independently of one another. And one company tries to convince us that the Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo is the perfect camping vehicle. These stories and more coming next. This is Ecotricity's Ecotech Roundup show from New Zealand's only carboNZero certified renewable electricity company. We only source from wind, hydro and solar, and we are the leading supplier of electricity to EVs in New Zealand. Switch today at ecotricity.co.nz. Welcome back to another roundup in the world of clean cars and green energy. It's been another great week, so let's get on with it. The automotive industry has, frankly, had a bit of a naff year. Supply chain woes and constant price changes have made even buying a used car an absolute nightmare. But it turns out that the plug-in market hasn't had as bad a year as you might think. That's because global plug-in car sales for the month of October have just been released by EV Volumes, and it seems electric vehicle sales are booming. During October, 589,000 new plug-in vehicles were sold around the world, a massive 70% more than was sold in October last year. This means that battery electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles, 6.2% and 2.6% respectively, accounted for 8.8% of all new cars sold during October. It's the highest yet, but we still have a lot of work to do. When Volkswagen unveiled the ID Buzz concept a few years back, it created a lot of buzz in the plug-in vehicle world and mainstream automotive world. Essentially the spiritual successor to the iconic Volkswagen Type 2 microbus and Volkswagen Transporter, this compact all-electric vehicle is one that we've been very eager to get our hands on. Over the last few years, Volkswagen has confirmed that it will be coming to market, but while we know it's due in 2022, we don't know a whole lot more. This week, though, spy shots, which we can't share because we've not got the money to spare to pay the several $1,000s spy shots normally sell for, were taken of the ID Buzz undergoing winter testing. And unlike previous spy shots, the car is wearing very little camouflage. While what I'm showing you here is the ID Buzz concept, for obvious licensing reasons, I think we're in for a treat. About 8 years ago, the CEO of Fiat Chrysler, the late Sergio Marchionne, famously begged Fiat customers not to buy the Fiat 500e because it lost the company thousands of dollars every time one was purchased. Since his death, there have been a lot of changes at the company, most noticeably the merger with Peugeot Citroën to become Stellantis. And so far, the messages we've been getting from Stellantis have been pretty EV positive. But this week, Stellantis' CEO Carlos Tavares told Reuters that the pressure being exerted on the auto industry to accelerate the shift to electric vehicles would cause major problems, stating that it would increase the price of making cars by 50%, something that couldn't be transferred to customers. Tavares warned that the cost of going electric is, quote, beyond the limits of most automakers. The nuance is that while the company seems committed to EVs, it is also worried about their profitability and the health of the industry long term as companies rush to play catch-up. No comment. If you've watched this channel for any length of time, you'll know that Toyota hasn't always been super eager to get on the electric vehicle bandwagon, choosing instead to focus on hybrid, plug-in hybrid and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Last month, we saw the global debut of its first mass-market EV, the unimaginatively named BZ4X. And side note, yes, while both RAV4 EV models it made previously were truly awesome, I actually owned one, neither were mass market, which is what Toyota says the BZ4X will be. This week, we learned how it plans to sell the same in Europe, and, well, it's a bit old-fashioned. Rather than train dealership staff on electric vehicles, the BZ4X will be relegated to specialised hubs inside select dealerships with specially trained sales staff tasked with selling it. We know from history how that went from BMW, Nissan and others, so let's hope history doesn't repeat itself. Talking of Nissan, the Japanese automaker has just announced its future roadmap called Nissan Ambition 2030, and it's promising to launch 15 new EV models over the next 9 years. At a special event at its headquarters in Yokohama, Japan, the company unveiled a slew of concept cars: the Nissan Chill Out, the Hangout, the Max Out and the Surf Out, as well as the Aria single-seat concept. The first utilises the CMF EV platform that underpins the Nissan Aria and Renault Megane E-Tech Electric, but the Hangout, Max Out and Surf Out are based on a brand new platform that Nissan says it's developing, a platform that uses solid-state batteries with a cost per kilowatt-hour of just $75. Nissan says we'll see its first solid-state battery launch sometime around 2028, and we're frankly keen to try them out. Honda, just like Toyota, has traditionally focused on building hybrid and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles rather than battery electric vehicles, but now EVs are about to play a more prominent role in its future. As recently appointed CEO Toshihiro Mibe detailed this week in an interview with Automotive News, he wants Honda to go all electric by 2040, although in Honda's world, that could be either battery electric or hydrogen fuel cell electric. In order to do this, Mibe says he hopes to continue Honda's partnership with General Motors, which will be making some of Honda's EVs for North America, as well as establish a similar relationship with another automaker with more advanced EV technology. I am not sure if that's a slight at GM, but given some of the stuff GM has been stating lately, that's pretty funny. In the world of cleaner, greener, safer and smarter vehicles, Polestar is one of the rare brands that's begun to take names and go after the leaders. And while we haven't had a chance yet to drive a Polestar 2, I just learned my local enterprise has one on its fleet, so yay! This week, Polestar published its latest episode in a documentary series called Precept, From Concept to Car, in which it gave us the first real glimpse of the vehicle that the Precept concept will become, the Polestar 5. A four-door GT with sweeping rear and flowing lines, the Polestar 5 will debut in 2024. While what we've seen thus far isn't production vehicle status yet, we understand that what Polestar is sharing right now is pretty much what we'll get in a few years' time. Joining the already in production Polestar 2 and soon to debut Polestar 3 electric SUV in the Polestar stable, you know that the Polestar 5 is going to become the brand's new halo car. For the last few years, General Motors has been the automaker in second place in the plug-in vehicle market in the US, even if that second place is several states behind the leader, Tesla. But as Morgan Stanley detailed in a note to clients this week, GM will lose its second place this year to its long-term rival Ford. During the first 10 months of the year, Ford sold just under 22,000 Mustang Mach-E's in North America, while GM had managed to sell just under 25,000 Bolt EVs and Bolt EUVs. But with most of GM's sales taking place earlier this year, no Bolts selling or in production right now, Morgan Stanley says Ford will sell about 3,000 more EVs by the end of this year than GM. That's not exactly leading now, is it? Late last year, BMW Motorrad unveiled a new concept in the form of the CE04, an all-electric maxi scooter that looked like it belonged in either a 1980s vision of the future or Blade Runner, which, come to think of it, is the same thing. It's already headed into production in Europe with both a police and civilian version going on sale, but this week we learned something that we thought would never happen. The CE04 is coming to North America. Due to go on sale early next year, the CE04 will start from just under $12,000 and will offer around 80 miles, 128 kilometers of range per charge. Now, don't get me wrong, we're all for new electric two-wheelers entering the market, but as Ryan F9 recently detailed, maxi scooters aren't really all that popular in North America. BMW Motorrad knows this, but it seems to think that the CE04 is car-like enough to get folks to leave their cars at home and jump on a scooter instead. What do you think? When it comes to adventure, there are few electric car companies truly prepared for off-road lifestyles, and Rivian really does lead the pack when it comes to overland fun. So far this year, we've seen the startup begin production and deliveries of its R1T electric pickup truck, establish its adventure network of off-road charging points, and hold a media launch that included tackling some pretty impressive off-road trails. But now it's about to add a new string to its off-road bow for adventurous owners, a recovery and maintenance service. At least, that's what a recently filed trademark application with the US Patent and Trademark Office suggests. Rivian applied to trademark the term Rivian Scout, and it says it intends to use the name for maintenance, service and repair. While nothing else is given, we're thinking something like a Tesla service ranger, perhaps more comfortable with coming to find you on the trailhead. With its official North American launch happening in the next few weeks, Hyundai's IONIQ 5 has received its official EPA ratings. Just as everyone had expected, the new eGMP platform on which it's based is most certainly delivering on range. According to official EPA figures, the all-wheel drive long-range version of the IONIQ 5 will manage a respectable 256 miles of range per charge of its 77 kilowatt-hour battery pack. That's 408 kilometers, placing it in a similar territory to the Chevrolet Bolt EV and Kia e-Niro. But the rear-wheel drive long-range variant, with that same size battery pack, manages 303 miles, 487 kilometers of range on a full charge. And with 800-volt battery technology standard, it's going to be super quick to charge as well, meaning it might be a no-brainer for those who want to make long-distance trips on a regular basis. We're hoping to get behind the wheel very soon, so watch this space for more about this exciting new car. And finally, when you think of an electric car that's suitable for camping on the road, you're probably going to think about the aforementioned Volkswagen I.D. Buzz, Rivian R1T, or perhaps even a Tesla Model X with camping mode enabled. All of those vehicles have plenty of space, lots of load carrying capability, and features that make camping with them an absolute breeze. But the Porsche Taycan Gran Turismo? Well, that's one I'm betting that you didn't think of being particularly camping friendly. Yet, one upmarket travel gear company, namely DB, has come up with a retrofit bundle to make a Porsche Taycan Gran Turismo the camper of someone's dreams. Called the Discoverberry Bundle, it features a streamlined rooftop tent complete with access ladder. It's gonna kill your range, and frankly, who wants to take a Taycan off-road? Answer: someone who thinks that the nearly $400,000 price tag is reasonable. And that's not me. And on that note, we are done for the day. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next episode, and if you haven't already switched, why not switch to New Zealand's only carboNZero certified renewable electricity company? It is super easy to make the switch, and when you do, you'll be helping New Zealand wean itself off dirty energy and onto clean green power that will keep the land beautiful for generations to come. I'll be back soon with more great content for you all to enjoy, but until then, I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Ka kite! See you soon.